Welcome to Advanced Automation, a podcast by Calvary Robotics, where you'll find industry leaders and experts sharing their thoughts on the world of automation.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening. I'm Josh Cavell, your host for this installment of Advanced Automation. Today, we're talking automation best practices for food and beverage applications. And with us is Mathias Konne, the local head of business and food for Staubli Robotics. Thanks for being with us today.
Hey, Josh. Thanks for the invite. It's a pleasure talking with you today.
Yeah, so can you just give our listeners a little brief history about yourself, your backstory up to today?
Absolutely. So I have worked my entire career in B2B marketing. I started working for a joint venture between Corning and Saint-Gobain in the glass manufacturing industry. And basically in 2019 is when I joined Calvary Robotics. At the time, I was working as a business developer and I was covering several markets. But in early 2022 is really where I started taking the role of the head of the food team here in the U.S. And when I say U.S., actually North America, so U.S., Canada, and Mexico. So moving, gradually into the role of local business head for the food industry here at Calvary Robotics in the U.S.
Wonderful. How about giving us an overview of Staubli? I'm sure that's a pretty big question, but something kind of boilerplate version.
Absolutely. I'll try to summarize 150 years plus of history in just a few minutes here. So Staubli is a Swiss company. We were founded in 1892 in Switzerland by Mr. Staubli. And today we're still privately owned. The Staubli family still sits on the board of Staubli. And at the time, we started our business in the textile industry. So we're making, weaving equipment, jacquard machines, carpet weaving machines, and then, moved on to different things like connectors, quick couplers, quick mold changers, tool changers for any brands of robots. And the youngest division now is the robotics division, which was started in the 80s. As of today, we have way over 6,000 people worldwide. We have offices in about 30 countries, and we have developed over 2,000 granted or pending patents. We have a presence worldwide, so where we don't have offices, we have agents. And a neat thing about Staubli is that all of our production for the North American market is actually based in France, in the plant that's around the border of with Switzerland. So we're still headquartered there, but we're a global company. We do multiple things, and robotics is just one of those.
Wonderful. How long has Staubli been offering, things for the food and beverage industry? And could you take us kind of through their offerings?
Sure, absolutely. So Staubli has been kind of a pioneer in robotics in general, and also for the food industry. We actually started, the robotics division in 1982. At the time, we worked with a company in the U.S., actually, that was called Unimation. And we purchased that company in 1992. And what's really interesting, too, especially for food people, is if you go back and you take a look at those Puma robots from Unimation that were developed with Staubli, those were actually already fully enclosed in what we call anthropomorphic. So that's what really gave us the edge for later sensitive environments and then, to the food industry today. So we started with that. We also, in the early 90s, we started using our own gearboxes. So we put all that in our 6-axis robots. And we're today the only manufacturer that actually makes its own gearbox for its robots. So that's something that's unique about Staubli and really gives us, the high performance that Staubli is known for, the durability. But so basically we started with that, a 4-axis offering and a 6-axis offering back in the 80s, 90s. And then it has evolved to multiple versions of robots today. So we offer, robots for the pharma industry. We offer robots for semicon industry, for the food industry, for surgery, what we call medical robotics. So we have all these different versions of robots that are available in 4-axis, 6-axis robots. We also offer collaborative features on our 6-axis robots. And the latest, acquisition and development that we have at Staubli is our AGV and AMR line. So we also offer mobile robotics now as part of our solutions. So we really cover the whole spectrum of robotics, 4-axis, 6-axis, mobile robotics, and we cover all environments, including standard environments, of course, I didn't mention, but of course, we also do applications in what we call standard environment here with our standard line of robots.
Yeah, that's incredible. And like you said, the full gamut for sure.
Yeah.
For a food and beverage company, that's looking to begin their automation journey, or maybe just one that's going to expand what they already have, what are the initial or kind of earlier next steps that need to be taken?
So the first thing I would do is really contact a specialist, someone who's experienced in the industry. And I mean by that, the environment, the application. Have they done applications or automation projects in a washdown sanitary environment? Do they know, what is needed, the requirements, the materials that can be used, that cannot be used in those environments, the designs, the design guidelines that they have to follow? Really work, with people that already have a proven track of record in that industry. Also, look at the applications. Maybe it's, you need vision and tracking, so look for integrators that have experience in that, environment too, and that can do the application that you're looking for. So kind of look for those specialists. That's my first advice. And then for the end users, for the food processors that are, listening to us today, what I would say too, that's really important is to identify the key elements of success that would be the most impactful for their projects. But what do I mean by that is the feasibility of the applications. So that's where you want to talk with experts to see what you're trying to actually solve here, the challenge you're actually trying to solve. Can that be done by automation? Has it already been solved by somebody else and somewhere else before? So that's where that's going to bring value to talk to those people as well. Then look also at the financial or logistical justifications. Is that helping with your operating costs? Are you working on resolving a labor shortage? Are you trying to improve productivity, remove bottlenecks in your production lines? Is it to improve safety or working conditions? So we try to identify too what are your key drivers here, and then see where that is the most painful for you right now. I try to focus on those areas. And then finally, also there's two important things too, and that's of course money and time. So really look at your budget, try to re-identify, where it's going to be the most impactful in terms of also costs and budgets. Look at, how many full-time employees, for example, an automated solutions is helping you with. Look at, the justification, again, productivity maybe that can be calculated, and really kind of have an idea already of, how much money can you put in that project. And also then the time, we're all, everybody's really conscious of time these days, especially when you work on those larger projects that can take a long time. There's a lot of engineering, there's a lot of development, testing to do. So really have your kind of like timeline, narrowed down already, and know if you need something for tomorrow or if you need something, that's going to be taking a little more time, that's, you'd be okay to have, next year or so. So again, like talking to experts is really something that, can help you going through all those different points here.
Absolutely. And it's not always everything at once too, wouldn't you say? Sometimes starting with something smaller, depending on your level of automation experience.
Yes, that's what I always say too, start with the little head fruits. Look at something, that is going to be easy, not too complex, get your feet wet, get your people in the plants, on board with the new solutions, the new technologies. So really go for something that is safe and sturdy in terms of automation and technology, right? And then, graduate with that first, and then, move on to the more complex. Is definitely the approach I would suggest. You're right.
Wonderful. What are some of the common areas of food processing, raw processing, deforming, packet, portions, assembly, packing meals, meats, vegetables, baked goods, etc., snacks, all of everything? What would you say are some of the common ones?
So the beauty of Staubli Robotics is that we've been doing food for 20 years. And when I say food, I mean primary environment, wash down, hygienic applications. So we truly work from the front of the plant to the back. We have integrators and OEMs that are qualified and experienced at really all stages of the process. We work in protein, dairy, bakery, pet foods, fresh produce, and ready-to-eat meals. So we really work, across the entire spectrum of what you could find in the food processing industry. And that's, really broad. So we have, collaborative palletizing systems, for example, in secondary environment. That can be done with our standard 6.2, 6-axis robots, for example. They can work alongside some fast secondary packaging systems that use our standard, TS2 scarers, for example. And that's, very successful, of course. But at the same time, then we can also enter primary packaging lines with our HE versions of those SCARA. HE stands for hygienic environment. We can touch on the features of those, but these are really the robots that we use in primary washdown environment. So you can have those primary packaging lines that we see now a lot and getting a lot of interest. Done with the SCARA HE, you can have some deboning applications done with some OEM solutions, for example, that we have, that use our HE 6-axis range. So really, we work across the entire, spectrum. Curd slicing in cheese plates, derinding of cheese wheels, handling of trays in pet food processing plants, all kinds of applications really from the front to the back.
Could you tell us more about the HE robots that Staubli offers?
Sure, yeah. So HE is an acronym for hygienic environment. So this is our line that we use for primary washdown applications. So we have standard robots, and then for the food industry, we have those HE robots when we need them. And so basically they're unique robots. We're on our 3rd generation, or we're working on the 4th generation. Keep improving the product, but basically you have a few features that you will find of those robots. The first one is that they'll be fully enclosed. There was no connections, no cables outside the robot. Everything goes through the arm and through the base, so you have a vertical connection too that separates it from the environment. That's true for the SCARA, the 4-axis and the 6-axis robots. You have an IP rating of 65, 67 on those robots. We also do a special surface treatment, and we use a special coating on top of that robot so we can resist the chemical washdowns. It's also, shaped a specific way, so there's really good drainage combined to the special, smooth surface treatment. So you have no retention areas, which could be an issue for bacteria, for example. So everything drains from the top to the bottom. We apply that special coating that enables you again to resist those washdowns, which is the key, problem with washdown for most of the pieces of equipment out there. We also actually pressurize the robots. So we have a positive pressure inside the robots that again prevents anything from entering the robot and damaging the electrical mechanical components, but also it prevents any bacteria or anything to come inside the robot and then become again a health and safety hazard. So you have all those different features. We have some crucial components that are made of stainless steel, and of course we use H1 food grade oil in those robots. So again, it's keeping it safe for the consumers. So that's kind of what we mean by the HE line, which is an acronym that we use a lot at Staubli. So sometimes it's good to maybe specify exactly what that means.
Well, thank you for that. And that's a lot of design aspects to go into it. So I know it's not a small thing. It's good that you gave us a little more in-depth answer about what that is.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely a thing that we've been working on for a long, long time, but we keep working on it.
Wonderful. I'm going to need a snack after this recording. I'm going to tell you right now. Let's talk of food. How does a customer, or Staubli and the integrators such as Calvary figure out the level of hygienic design? That you sort of already touched on a little bit, but how do they figure out what's required for automation?
That is a good question that for us, we spend a lot of time on. So we're true industry specialists again. So we work on each project to really ensure the success of the equipment. The food industry is known to destroy equipment like no other. Some guys out there even brag about it, which is kind of an interesting thing to brag about.
Put it through the ringer, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I can destroy this $1 million piece of equipment in 2 months. This is great. Well, okay. But for those reasons, we really try to work on that and truly, work with integrators, OEMs, the food processors directly, and understand their washdown processes and the chemicals that they use. Again, being a pioneer in that industry, in the primary environment, in the washdown with robots, we have a long history of cleaning processes that, sits in our database. And we really capitalize on that to validate applications. So we can look at the chemicals being used. If it's something that we've used in the past that has already been used, in Europe, has been used in Asia, in the US, kind of compare those, across those different references of our expert team and really validate the application like that. We also now provide some best practices with our HE robots. So it kind of summarizes the do's and don'ts. When you enter that arena of washdown, hygienic applications, food contact, what you should do, what you should not do. It's really things that are always in our manuals and that are always in, our product manuals, but it's just making more customer friendly, and we're always improving on that as well. So that has evolved with time, of course, because we are now in our third generation of HE robots, because again, we've been doing that for a long time, so we keep improving the product.
Right.
But that's something that we really work on, and we even have test kits also. So if there is really a concern about the environment, about the chemicals used, if there's something that we see as maybe a no red flag and we want to know more about this, what we can do as well is to actually put a test kit in the environment for an extended period of time, and then we can get it back and actually do some analysis in our lab and return to the customer with the validation of the environment by then.
Wow, that's quite an offering. Really good way to check all your, boxes.
Yeah, and the reason why we do that is because, so if I can maybe just add that, is just because, each in the food industry, each plant is different.
Right.
They do differently. Even if it's the same company, each plant is going to be different. They're going to use different chemicals, different exposure time. They're going to use a different third-party company to do the cleaning. So sometimes they're not even really aware of the details of what's happening, because the cleaning company is really the one responsible and handling the cleaning procedure. So that's why it's also really important to work directly with people to really understand it. It's everybody wishes they would be simple and that we could just say we're bulletproof for everything, but that's not really the case. And you really have to be, if you want to be in the industry, if you want to be successful, you really have to understand truly the project and the applications and the environment of the people that you work with.
Absolutely. And kind of a good segue there. What are the best ways to tackle then a new area of food processing?
So again, for me, it's just going back to, talking to experts, talk to people that are experienced and dedicated to the food industry, to automation in food processes. Come to trade shows, contact us, talk to us, just give us a call, whatever. Talk to our partners, people like Calvary, and just talk to those guys and get in contact with them, and they'll guide you towards success. But this is, something that's really important. Just talk to those people that can help you move through those hurdles quicker.
Absolutely. How much do federal, state, local, regional regulations play into the design and implementation of automation for food?
So at the federal level, and again, I'm not, a hygienic and sanitation expert. The USDA seems to rule, the food industry, and they're the ones who inspect the processing lines. And of course, our equipment goes through those on-site inspections, like any other piece of equipment that could help, impact the health and safety of the consumers. I don't know, once you go down to the state, local, or regional regulations, I don't know exactly how that plays out. But we know that USDA inspectors are out there and they guarantee our safety when we're consuming food every day. So we kind of, see them as the main body out there that really inspects equipment in the field.
That's great. Are there best practices then for, the hygienic design aspects for the general food and safety and automation?
So they are in terms of design. So cleaning, of course, we're robotic manufacturers, so we don't get involved with that directly. That's really for the food processors to handle and manage the risks, linked to hygiene and sanitation in their plants. But then we work really hard, on the other side, on the machine equipment build. We work really hard on our side to really align with the current guidelines from group like, EHEDG, which is the European Hygienic Equipment Design Group, or 3A, which is maybe more common in North America, or get USDA, FDA, FDA more for the material side. So we work with those guys and the principles and the guidelines that they put out there to really try to align with those as best we can with the current technology. That's really what we focus our efforts on that side.
Great. What changes are you seeing due to Industry 4.0, IoT, real-time analytics, digital twin, that sort of thing, when it comes to, the food industry? in automation?
Absolutely. So yeah, Industry 4.0 is a big buzzword right now at the moment. We hear it in the food industry. We hear it, in the automotive industry. We hear it in the, pharma industry. It's everybody's mind. And of course, it's appealing, rightfully so. Everybody wants to be able to gather real-time data, be able to analyze that, use those data to avoid unplanned downtime, which we know food processing plants hate. Optimize spare parts, inventories, maintenance programs. So really, that's a big thing at the moment for sure. Our products are compatible with the UP. Our products are compatible with the OPC U8 protocol. So that means that we can virtually connect and exchange data with any other system without challenges. So that's something we've been doing for a long time. So it's not something really new at Staubli, but now the technology is ready to be used by others. So that's a big plus as well. And then also we have maybe the most exciting news is a new solution that we're going to launch very soon, and that's called Scope. I cannot tell you more about that, but if you guys are coming to Automate in Detroit in May, I will invite you to our booth and then come to learn more about Scope, which is kind of the 4.0 solution, the Industry 4.0 box by Staubli, which will be, I think, very appealing and interesting to everybody. So that's it. That's what I can tell on that topic. So far, again, I invite you to Automate. We'll be there. Come to the show and come to see what Scope is about.
Might have to have you come back on to talk about it once it's unveiled.
With pleasure.
Sounds exciting. Yeah, sounds exciting. How has COVID and supply chain slowdowns altered the state of automation for food industry?
So it's obvious that the COVID pandemic has exposed and threatened the food processing industry. I think, like never before, with, many issues around labor concerns, supply chain challenges, cost increases. So all of those, impacted greatly the entire society. I think everybody felt that, from the food processors, the equipment builders, to the people filling up their carts at the store, right? That being said, I also believe that the food industry was already going through changes before the pandemic. And I think this will continue even long after the pandemic. And what I mean by that is, for example, the labor shortage. That was already surfacing before. There's an increase in labor costs, competition from other industries offering, good compensations and better working conditions like the service industry, logistics. Those were already out there before the pandemic. It got worse during the pandemic for sure, but it was already present before. And then I also think that really on the society standpoint, we are evolving. And as an example, butchers, it was already hard to find butchers before the pandemic. A lot of butchers left during the pandemic, right? Because they were staying home, they got to maybe do something else, and then they stayed where they were at, and they didn't come back to the food processing industry. But also, I think as a society, we're evolving on the psychological standpoint, maybe. And I think those jobs like butchers and jobs like that are going to be harder and harder to fill. And so that, for example, is the challenge that I think got worse during the pandemic, but it's going to continue. And I think those jobs will be harder and harder to fill. And so that's where automation can step in and help.
Right, dull, dirty, and dangerous kind of things, right?
Exactly, yeah. And then on the food hygiene and safety standards, we already had seen changes too before the pandemic. Of course, to guarantee the health and safety of the consumers. I think that of course was top of mind of everybody during the pandemic. Everybody wanted to stay healthy and be able to consume safe food. But I think that's going to again keep going. We always want to provide safer food for the consumers. I think that trend again is going to keep going. But there's also, I think, a bright side of the industry. There's a bright side, on the market for us, and a bright outlook. There are more and more people on the planet to feed, more than ever. People they can access more food than ever, thanks to the overall improvement of the living conditions, which translate into a higher volume of food. We need more productivity, therefore, to feed those people. Those people, they want more diverse and healthier foods. So that opens the door for innovation, like alternative proteins, and also, just larger product portfolios with more SKUs, more variations of products. And lastly, those people, just like myself, have pets that they love, and they want to feed those pets. And so now it brings the opportunity of the pet food industry that also is getting into automation, because there's more and more pets, and those pets eat healthier and better foods and more diverse food. So it's been enchanted. So there's a lot also of good things that have happened, recently for the food industry.
Exciting stuff. As we close this episode out, I just wanted to give you the opportunity to add any last comments or thoughts you might have.
It's an exciting time to be in the food industry. Again, I'm excited to get in contact with people. It's the really impactful for me and fulfilling to learn about projects, about processes, to see how things are being made, and to be able to solve some challenges with our solutions. So it's really a great time to be in this industry. Have partners at Calvary to build full systems using our solutions in primary and secondary, and really help feed the people with better food, more food, and get that out of the door faster for the food processors and in a safer manner. That's a great role to play at the moment. So I'm really excited about the food industry, the food processing industry from the automation standpoint. And I really encourage people to get involved, to not be afraid of automation. I think that's the main thing. There's a big fear factor when it comes to robots in food plants. So don't be afraid, talk to the experts, and then hopefully we'll get in touch.
Wonderful. And that is another great segue. So what is the best way for our audience to get in touch, with you specifically and with Staubli?
Sure. So, our website is a great source of information, www.staubli, STAUBLI.com. That's a great way to get a bunch of information on our products, on the food industry, and also a great way to contact us. So it's super easy to contact us in any country of the world through the website. You can also, connect with me on LinkedIn, connect with Staubli on LinkedIn, and chat with us directly on LinkedIn as well. Come see us also face-to-face. Trade shows will be at Automate, Pack Expo, Process Expo just this year, many more events. So when you see us, or if you come to an event, just look for Staubli and come talk to us. And then finally, the good old way of a phone call always works as well. So there's a phone number on the website, and you can always call that phone number. Or if you guys are sharing my contact information, people are always more than welcome to just reach out to me via phone or LinkedIn or email.
That's great. Yeah, I was poking around the website in preparation for this episode, and there's some really incredible applications, especially in the food industry, on your website. So I encourage people to go check some of that stuff out.
Oh yeah, thank you. And we're getting more and more cool videos as well that show you applications and stuff. So we're working a lot on not only realizing projects, but also promoting them and kind of showcasing them. So there's a lot of really cool videos as well for people to watch on there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time.
Thank you, Josh. I really appreciate talking to you today.
Yep. And thank you to all the listeners. Make sure to subscribe to Advanced Automation wherever you get your podcasts, and head over to Calvary Robotics to listen to other episodes, watch our series Calvary TV, and lots of other great content about Calvary Robotics. Have a great day.